Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the greatest time of the day. From the center of the universe, New York City, it's the main event you've been waiting for. It's time to go in the cage with Cyclone.
And guess who it is? It's me, Cyclone, back. Once again, it's episode 16 of In the Cage. Wow, we have survived 15 other episodes. That's incredible. I honestly never thought I'd make it this far. But it's a cold, chilly day here in NYC, the center of the universe, on this 14th day of November, almost Thanksgiving, although to me it's just one other day of the week. But that's what it is. 1 week closer. It was an absolutely chaotic, cuckoo week in the world, and in the world of MMA, but in the world too. It's the whole entire planet has gone upside down and then inside out. And that's what we're going to be talking about throughout the whole entire show. I want to remind everybody to catch me on Twitter at CYCIE19. Hit me up on Facebook at In the Cage with Cyclone, where you can win many different raffles. Check out CycloneComedy.com. There'll be updates there once in a while, I promise. And of course, as always, read everything I write on Bonehead Picks. And we're going to get this whole entire shing-ding started right after this. Okay, I'm going to start off sliding away from the UFC for a second. I just want to quickly recap Bellator 187, where one of the most dangerous featherweights on this planet, and he's lucky to be in Bellator, AJ McKee, who, by the way, was substituting on short notice for another dangerous featherweight in James Gallagher, beat James's teammate from SBG by submission, Mr. Brian Moore. Baby Slice, Kimbo Slice's son, Kevin Ferguson Jr., known for all his power, just like his daddy was, known for his strength and his punching abilities, gets his first win by submission in the first round thanks to a rear naked choke on Fred Freeman. And not the Freddie Freeman who I believe used to play for the Atlanta Braves. Pretty sure it's another Freddie Freeman. Freddie done got fingered. Now I guess we're going to have to go into the beginning part of the chaos. SBG fighter Charlie Wood, close friend to Conor McGregor, who, by the way, was on a 2-fight losing streak from the UFC, takes an first-round KO of John Redmond. And then, as you all know by now, unless you've crawled out from under some sort of a rock, Conor went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. That's the only way to describe it. And I'm one of the biggest Conor fans on the planet. The man done gone cuckoo. You know, like the shotguns shooting out of his head, the flags, the bandanas coming out from the top of his head, the fireworks shooting out from his ears. He done flipped his lid, and it's the only way to describe it. But I'm going to get into that a little bit later, a little bit of a tease. UFC Fight Night in Virginia happened this past weekend. Big, huge props to Super Sage Northcutt, the newest member of the Alpha Males. I won't call them the Alpha Fails anymore. I will give them the credit and call them the Alpha Males. Although during UFC 217 week, I had my issue with a certain member of the team. But I will be more mature than that. No more Alpha Fails. I will call them the Alpha Males. And the one thing I don't quite get about Sage Northcutt is Jesus H. Mary effing Christ. That guy is jacked. Now, I don't know if everyone is on PEDs. I don't know if everyone is on steroids. But he is jacked beyond belief. Now, this isn't something that's homosexual in nature, but he is the prettiest of pretty boys, Super Sage Northcutt. As a matter of fact, he just auditioned to play the role of Ivan Drago's son in the sequel to Creed. And you got to admit, he kind of does look like a young Ivan Drago, a young Dolph Lundgren. But I don't quite get how in the world the son of a beep can get a 10 ab washboard. That's insane. That's sick. I'd be jealous if to someone that has one ab. Homeboy is ripped, but anyways, props to him for winning by unanimous decision now that he has joined the Alphas. Another Alpha needs to be given props. Clay Guida, who won on his last fight on his present contract. TKOing J-Lo, not J-Lo Lopez, J-Lo Joe Lawson. Who could forget Junior Baby Albini wearing those diaper trunks? Holy smokes. I'm just happy he actually didn't pull a baby and poop himself. Who knows if we saw Matt Brown's last fight or not? Going into it, he said he was leaning towards retirement. He then beats Diego Sanchez with a vicious elbow from hell. Forget the RKOs out of nowhere. This guy threw an elbow from hell that just dropped Diego. And now you got to wonder, honestly, at this point in his career, does Diego call it a career? Who knows? Because I know I don't. And then obviously, Poirier and Pettis in the main event in Norfolk. Wow. That was... And you can see why it was one fight of the night. Poirier proved that he should be right on the outer rims of title consideration. He's climbed all the way back, and it's something he deserves. Totally dismantling, totally ripping apart Pettis, and Showtime tapping. I don't think it's come out yet what he did to his ribs, but I don't know where Pettis goes from here either. Pettis, I think, might be in the same boat as Diego Sanchez. Who knows where they go? Because it's not me. UFC 217, the smoke is starting to finally clear and dissipate. Although I have to brag, I have to pat myself on the back. I told every single person that could listen that Rose Namajunas would beat Joanna. It was just something I felt, just something in the air told me Rose was going to win. And once again, I was proven correct. And I was proven correct when TJ Dillashaw, Killishaw, Pillishaw, Hillishaw, wound up dropping Cody Garbrandt. Now, I still have some love for No Love, but I called that one too. I think the biggest news, one of the biggest stories to come out of 217 was the complete emergence, if you will, of Paulo Borrachina, a.k.a. Paulo Costa, a.k.a. the Arisa, a.k.a. one Bad Mama Jamma. That's the only way to describe Paulo. I don't care what you call his last name. Just call him Paulo for all I care. The man is a beast. He truly, truly is. And you can tell that the UFC, we've moved past the Ronda generation. Because of all his antics, we are in limbo with the Conor generation. But you could see the company is starting to move forward. Just like every sport. I don't care if it's baseball, football, hockey, basketball, tennis, badminton, or tic-tac freaking toe. You always have to move forward. The next generation has to be pushed. Given their push, they rise to the top. Old veterans slide down. That's just the way it is. No one is ever bigger, although at times they can be bigger than the sport. In general, no one is ever bigger than the sport. Okay? And you can see with guys like James Vick, Francis Ngannou, Darren Till, Paulo, Cynthia Calvillo. You can see that next generation in the UFC is starting to shine through and through. And this next generation, across multiple divisions, are going to hold gold for a very, 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 very long time. Now, here's the thing. As far as Paulo is concerned, what he did to Johnny Hendricks is, it's disheartening in a way because everybody remembers Johnny Hendricks the champion. The fact of the matter is that was the past, And with Johnny joining Jackson Winks, something came out that is actually really disturbing to me. And here's the situation. Johnny Hendricks trained with Jackson Winks for this fight. Cowboy Cerrone is with Jackson Winks. And if you remember, before the Darren Till Cowboy Cerrone fight, Cowboy said he never heard of Darren Till. Okay, fine. You never heard of somebody? Fine. You are a pro athlete. Do your research. If I, as a reporter, can do my research on fighters, how do you not? That is a disgrace. Plain and simple. It is a lack of responsibility and there's no accountability. You're not accountable. How in the world does that happen? Seriously. And then after the Apollo Johnny Hendricks fight, Johnny said the same thing. That he never saw a video of Apollo and he knew nothing of him. What in the freaking world are they doing in Albuquerque? Jackson and Winklejohn are supposedly two of the best people at scouting opponents. And two of their fighters got lit up like freaking Christmas trees. How do they allow that to happen? How? That's a lack of... It's a lack of something. I don't know. But you have to scout your opponents. I don't know how in the world you can get away with being an MMA fighter, getting into a cage where somebody opposite of you wants to rip you limb from limb and not have a clue to what they're going to do. How's that possible? Seriously. Oh, good God almighty. It makes me mental. It really, really does. And something else that makes me mental is obviously Anderson Silva popped again for who knows what. The first time was for dick pills. And look, the guy's in his mid-40s. That's my age. Any type of suspension that's 2 to 3 years, which is possible, it's a career ender. At least as far as UFC is concerned. Maybe 4 years down the road, do we see Anderson Silva in some grappling competition or BJJ competition? I don't know. I'm not Karnak. I'm Cyclone. But here's the deal. I believe his UFC career is done. I think it's the end of Anderson Silva. I truly do. Now, as much of a hurtful, heartbreaking situation as that is, I have something 180 degrees the opposite way for you. And I want each and every one of you guys to do this for me. I want you guys to check out my new hero, Platinum Mike Perry. Now, yeah, Mike Perry is a head case. He's loud, he's obnoxious, he's arrogant, he's cocky. All, by the way, things that I happen to like. I'm not going to deny it. As I take a sip of my Diet Snapple, half and half. Not that they're a sponsor of mine, but I actually like this drink. Anyways, back to Mike Perry. Mike Perry. Thinking of friends. And I'll tell you what, I would like Platinum Mike Perry to be my friend. Because this guy is my hero. And I'll tell you why. The UFC Norfolk card. Him and his girlfriend, who is a tennis pro, and I'm vapor locking on her name right now, made bets on all the fights. Sort of like what I do on In the Cage with Cyclone on Facebook. But for you older people, if you remember the game Asses Up, where you bend over and someone throws a ball at your ass. Okay, it was a fun game in the 70s and the 80s. Probably wouldn't be able to play that game right now because somebody would whine and complain and need some sort of a safe place or safe word and cry. And I'm not even going to get into the libertard agenda, but a game like Asses Up I don't think could be played anymore. Anyways, him and his girlfriend had a game of Asses Up where for every fight wrong, they were going to hit 10 tennis balls at the other person's ass. Now, Platinum Mike ran the table, meaning his girlfriend, she didn't. So in their backyard of their beautiful, luxurious home, they have a large tennis court. She stands on one side, bends over, sticks her ass out, and Platinum Mike Perry proceeds to pull a Serena Williams and wail away 4 freaking T tennis balls at his girlfriend's ass. That is awesome. I love that. That is so cool. And I watched the video and it's absolutely hilarious. It was on MMAfighting.com on the weekly grind. I'll give him a plug. But it's absolutely hilarious. He actually only nailed her ass, which kind of sounds a little bit awkward, but he nailed her ass only like 3 or 4 times. But he drilled her ankles like 5 times, where she was actually like jumping up and down in pain. But Platinum Mike Perry, my new hero. Oh, that was... I am so sorry. All of you listening, that was so uncalled for. Such a pig move on my part. So, let's talk about how crazy the UFC week had. They're coming off of, arguably, their best card ever. UFC 217. Just a couple blocks away from where I am right this very second. Well, more than a few, but a walking distance for those of you that like to walk away from here. 270, absolutely one of the best cards from top to bottom ever. And then it seems like the walls caved in, the ceiling collapsed, the building exploded on top of itself for the UFC. First, Cyborg and Holly Holm for 219, which is a very important card that right before New Year's card for the company, that falls through. Dominic Cruz breaks his arm. Frankie Edgar injures his face, and then thank God for 218 is replaced by Jose Aldo. So that's going to be the opponent for Max Holloway in their rematch for the featherweight title at UFC 218 in Detroit, Michigan. Then you have the Silva incident with Silva getting popped, being taken off the Shanghai card, being replaced instantly, fast turnaround, 2 weeks, 3 weeks after 217 by the Count, Michael Bisping, against Kevin Gastelum. And the Conor nonsense, which continues to flow. Here's the deal. I have to admit, because everyone knows how much of a Conor fan I am, if Conor would have waited 120 seconds, none of this would have happened. If Woody would have gone straight to the police, none of this would have happened. Sometimes patience is better. When Charlie Ward KO'd John Redmond, kind of jumps over the cage. He gets into it with some Bellator employees. He shoves Mark Goddard. They finally escort him out of the cage. He comes back. He tries to get in again. Then he slaps a Bellator employee. You can't be doing that. And he's going to be punished, and he's going to be punished for a very long time. Because if you remember, Jason High and Roy Nelson did less and got huge punishments. Now, apparently the word has come out, although Conor's agents have denied it, that he was supposed to be on the 219 card against Tony Ferguson, and he's now been taken off. The fact of the matter is, if the Vegas, the California, and the New York athletic commissions follow the recommendation of Mike Mazzullo, guess what? Conor will sit for upwards of close to a year. Now, being he hasn't defended in a year, you tack on maybe another 6 to 10 months. You have to wonder if at this point, Dana and the powers that be say, you know what? Not only are we going to suspend you, and because the suspension is going to add on to you not defending for at minimum a year now, we have to strip you of the belt. And I hate to say that. I really do. Conor worked very hard to climb the ladder as fast as he did, to become the sport's first ever and the UFC's first ever concurrent 2-title holder. And just as quickly, he's lost both belts. Even though he hasn't right now, but it's not going to be a situation where if he issues an apology, they're going to let bygones be bygones. That's not going to happen, because Dana has said consistently, if you put your hands on an official, that's it, you're done. So now we see if Dana is actually going to keep his word on that situation. But man, it turned on a dime for the UFC. We have the big Bellator heavyweight Grand Prix tournament as they finally talk about stripping of belts. Bellator hasn't had a heavyweight champion for quite some time now. And it's going to be nice to see that they actually get a new heavyweight champion. And it's going to be held throughout 2018. And then right before New Year's, going into 2019, they're going to announce it. They're going to have their championship fight. And once again, for those of you who've been sleeping under a rock, the first fight's actually been announced. It's Frank Mir against Fedor Emelianenko. And you got to wonder how fast Fedor is going to dispose of Frank Mir. I don't see any way possible for Frank to win this fight. So I see Fedor moving ahead. Then you have, and they haven't announced the other fights yet, but you have his opponent from Madison Square Garden, Matt Mitrione. You have free agent signee Roy Nelson. You have Ryan Bader, Chael Sonnen, King Mo, and Rampage Jackson rounding out the 8-man tournament. And conspicuous, I think, is the word I'm looking for. I'm pretty sure it's conspicuous. By their omission. See, I'm using big words. Conspicuous, omission. It's like I'm playing Scrabble here. But missing from this competition are guys like Justin Wren, who's a great story, who, if you don't know, he's helping out with the pygmies in the rainforest. half of his half of every one of his purses he spends on helping support the pygmies in the rainforest. Bobby Lashley, former wrestler turned MMA fighter, is not in this competition. And either is Czech Congo. How? No Czech Congo. I love that name and I love that fighter. Czech Congo, Czech Congo. Every time I hear the name Czech Congo, I just want to like salsa. And trust me, as a fat white guy, I ain't got no rhythm. Okay? I got 2 left feet. And by the way, they both stink. But I just want to dance every time I hear the name Czech Congo. So, I don't know. If you just look at the 8 guys in the competition, I kind of think it might go back to a rematch between Fedor and Mitrione for that title in December of 2018. I don't see any of the light heavyweights being able to match up well against the heavyweights. I really don't. So, I want to remind everyone, right here on Broadway Radio Networks, keep listening to this place on Spreaker, because you will hear the Sportsbook Box Office Podcast with Kevin Goatee and Jeffrey Lawrence. Those 2 huckleberries will talk all of sports except MMA, because they know to leave MMA to me, the Yoda of MMA. I'm like the Jedi Master, Cyclone. Always follow me on Twitter, please. CYCIE19. Hit me up there. Tweet to me. Let's have a tweet off. Let's tweet conversation. Hit me up on Facebook at In the Cage with Cyclone. Please click follow. You can win one of the many prizes from one of the many raffles I have. Check out CycloneComedy.com. You know, the holidays are coming up, and nothing says I love you more to your loved one than something that says Cyclone on it. Because there is no bigger love than Cyclone. And then obviously, if you like to read when you're on the train, on the bus, on a plane, sitting on the toilet bowl, wherever, if you're standing on the line in the supermarket, check out my articles on Bonehead Picks. And we are going to continue with some fun segments. We're going to talk about the upcoming schedules. Guess when? Right after this. That's when.
Hi, I'm Jim Miller. This is Dan Merigliotta. I'm Derek Weston. I'm Nick DeCarney-Lentz, and you're locked into the cage with Cyclone.
Okie dokie. So, let's start off this Thursday. Just 2 days away. And yeah, I get it. It's odd that there's a card on a Thursday. That's not some, indie card. Because remember, folks, even though I'm going over the bigger companies for the upcoming schedule, check out all the indie cards. Because there are indie cards, hundreds of them, every day, all over the country, all over the planet. So, like I was saying, this Thursday, in Tel Aviv, Israel, Bellator 188. Now, here's the thing. If you guys don't know, Tel Aviv, Israel, is the second biggest party city on the planet. Second behind Rio. It's Rio and then Tel Aviv. Because, us, the chosen people, love to party because we're the chosen ones. And God said it's okay to party in Tel Aviv. Anyways, Bellator 188 is there on Thursday. And they just actually lost their main event because Patricio Pitbull got injured. And his brother Patricky was willing to step in. The company said no. So him against Daniel Weichel for the featherweight title is scratched. The new main event is Israeli sensation Noad Lahat Neo against Jeremy Labiano. And let me tell you something. Noad is going to get a huge pop in Israel. He is like the king of Israeli fighters. And also on that card is Chaim Ghazali, who also is huge, obviously, in Israel. As Chaim, I once again will give props to him, hooking me up with one of his hats at Bellator NYC here at Madison Square Garden. Guy, hook me up. I will always, always, always like him if you hook me up. Then Saturday in Australia is UFC Fight Night 121. And there's actually a couple of really good fights on the card. I mean, you have the headline Marcin Turba against Fabricio Verdum. And that's another name I like. You know, I like Chekongo. I like Fabrizio Verdum. I also like Shogun Hua, too, as far as names are concerned. The co-main event is something that's going to be really fun to watch. Rowdy Beck Rawlings, who's actually on a 2-fight losing streak right now, is taking on a fighter who's making her debut, but she's really dangerous standing up. She likes to throw hands. Jessica Rose Clark. Keep your eyes out for her. Tim Means against Bilal Muhammad. You have Daniel Kelly against Elias Thurdo. You have Will Ill Brooks against Nick Lenz on the card. So it's a good card in Australia, the other side of the planet, this Saturday. And then on Sunday is Bellator Echo 400. And here's the thing. Bellator is doing something that the PFL did. The Professional Fighters League did. And I didn't like it then. And guess what? I still don't like it. I think it's a bad booking, and I think it makes no sense. For them to book a card at Miami Homestead Speedway is ridiculous to me. That is what you call a bad booking. Look, NASCAR and MMA go together. It's a good marriage. It's like I wouldn't say a husband-wife. It might be more like a husband-cousin sort of deal. But it's kind of good. You know what I'm saying? Usually if you like one, you like the other. I know I love both. But here's the deal. If you're going to have a card, okay, you can't have it after a NASCAR race at a speedway because there's crap going on. Especially this Sunday because it's the last race of the season. There's a lot of ceremonies going on after the race when they declare the Monster Energy champion. as it's no longer Winston Cup or Sprint Cup, it's now Monster Energy champion. That makes no sense to have a card there. Really doesn't. Then right before Thanksgiving, One Championship has a card going on. And will Ben Askren retire undefeated because it's his last fight? Which, God knows why, because he's still, Ben Askren gets such a bad rap. But the fact of the matter is, right now, he's in the prime of his career. He really, really is. And for him to walk away now, I guess you could kind of maybe, even though it's a bit of a stretch, saying he's comparing himself to Barry Sanders or Michael Jordan, because he's not that great of a fighter. He's not one of the best ever like Jordan or Barry Sanders are. But he's retiring really, really young and really, really at the top of the game. He's 17-0. Who knows if he retires at 18-0? And he's taking on a fighter who's looking for his nice round number 40th career win in Shinya Aoki, who happens to be 39-7. Hence, he's looking for his 40th career win. Amir Khan is on the card. Andrew Leone. Tiffany Soul Crusher Tieo is on that card as well. So it's a decent card right before Thanksgiving, where we all give thanks to the many lords, the many gods, that we have Cyclone in our lives. And you do realize I was being a bit sarcastic on that, right? Then is the Fight Night card in Shanghai on Saturday the 25th of November. That was supposed to be Silva Gastelum, which is now Bisping Gastelum. And you got to give it to Michael, who gets a 30-day suspension waived by the medical community. And 21 days after losing his belt to GSP in the Garden, is going to be taking on Kevin Gastelum. Now, remember, Count said he doesn't want his last fight to be getting tapped out, So, you got to give him credit. He's coming back for this fight, and then he's already announced that March card in London is going to be it. Game over for him. His last two fights, and that's all, folks. All right. So that's the schedule. All neatly packaged by yours truly. I'm kind of in the mood to do some segments. So let's go into the grabby baggy. And if I could open up the grab bag. And let's pull out two numbers as we don't look in the bag, because that would be cheating and I don't cheat. Never let it be said that Cyclone is a cheater. We have numbers 15 and number. These tickets are sticking. Not that I did anything to the bag. But 279 and 15. So, this is what happens when I bring all my notes with me. Everything gets all discombobulated. Okay, 15. And 279. 279. Bingo. Wow, this should be interesting. Number 15, in the red corner, Boss El Guapo Ruin. And number 279, a freak of nature, Francis the Predator Ngannou. Wow. Talk about two power smashers. Who would win Bas Rutten and Francis Ngannou? Wow, I would give the edge just because he's a veteran, just because he's more well-rounded, to Bas. And Bas obviously was a multi-champion. Although, if Francis caught him, Bas would be going to sleep really fast, but I don't know if he would necessarily catch him. I really don't. But I'd give the edge in this fight to Bas Rutten. I really would. Now, as we move over to our imaginary Build-A-Fighter, remember, we took Gegard Mousasi's vision, we took Andre Harrison's hearing, Emily Ducote's nose, and now we're up to someone's smile. And why someone's smile? Because without a smile, you have nothing. Trust me, I know, because I never smile. Not on my mug. My mug never smiles. But I'm going to take someone's smile. And whose smile am I going to take? Without a doubt, it has to be Smilin' Sam Alvey. It's only fair. Smilin' is in his nickname. That's why I need to take his. My pound for pound listing has taken a major changing over the last week. Starting out at number 10, Chris Cyborg. Moving up to number 9 is Luke Rockhold. Sliding down to number 8, and not because he was kind of mean to me during 217 week, T. Wood, Tyron Woodley, Champ Camp. Coming in now at number 7, the new Bantamweight champion, TJ Dillashaw, Killishaw, Pillishaw, Hillishaw, Millishaw, Fillishaw. Sliding all the way down, she has to slide down. Number 6, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Coming in at number 5 is Stipe Miocic. My number 4 pound for pound fighter, El Kukui, Tony Ferguson of the sick ass cardio. Number 3, the newest middleweight champion. No one knows if he's going to slide down back at welterweight. Obviously, I'm talking about GSP, Judge Rush St. Pierre. Number 2, moving up a stitch, is DC Daniel Cormier. And still sitting at the top of the throne, the top of the mountain, the top of the hill, Demetrius Johnson at number 1 on my pound for pound list. And just a quick story about Demetrius during 217 week. I chased him up as he was doing a appearance up in the Bronx, far away from Midtown Manhattan. And I went to take a selfie with him. And he couldn't understand how I was able to take a photo with a regular camera and have it come out absolutely centered and absolutely perfect. And he looked at me and goes, wow, you're actually pretty good at taking selfies with a camera. So I looked at him and I said, no, Demetrius, I am pound for pound number 1 at taking selfies. And he had a good little laugh at that. Um, my spotlight this week is a little bit different than it usually is. Normally, I spotlight someone that's really impressive, really good, someone that's good to look up to. This time, not so much. As I start to squeal and I need another hit of my Diet Snapple half and half. This is actually good. You guys got to go and buy this half and half Diet Snapple drink. But my spotlight is Tony Kryptonite Lopez. He's 44 years old. He's right now the King of the Cage heavyweight champion. I have to give him credit because I'm someone who loves great facial hair, great hair in general. He has two crazy long ponytails that kind of looks like Pippi Longstockings. I think it was Pippi Longstockings. Anyways, or like two Rapunzels on the sides of his head. He just not too long ago had a 8-fight winning streak stopped. But here's why I say he's not such a great guy. He had a fight with Addison Clementino. He gets this guy in a rear naked choke. Ref stops the fight, and he's not releasing the hold. So the ref has to pull him off. And then as he's getting up, he kicks poor Clementino in the head. So he then gets himself suspended. He gets the title taken away from him at the time. So yeah, he's not the greatest of all characters. But he is my spotlight for this week. Today in MMA history, 28 years ago, Justin Gaethje was born. Happy birthday, Justin Gaethje. The highlight, the human highlight. The man that's still undefeated. He came out of mommy's womb this date 28 years ago. I don't even remember 28 years ago. Heck, I don't remember 28 days ago. In 2009, we had UFC 105 in Manchester, England, where Randy Couture beat Brandon Vera, Dan Hardy beat Mike Swick, Michael Bisping TKO Dennis Kang at UFC 105, Matt Brown TKO'd James Wilk, and Nick Osbazak TKO'd Matthew Riddle. And if you don't know, Matthew Riddle right now is riding the indie wrestling scene. So he's one of the guys that's crossed over from MMA to wrestling. And then, just 2 years ago, 2015, was UFC 193. And who can't remember that? The kick heard round the world. Holly Holm KOing Ronda Rousey happened 2 years ago today. Joanna Jędrzejczyk beat Valerie Tourneau by unanimous decision. And every time I talked about names today throughout the show. Every time I hear the name Valerie Tourneau, I think of that watch company. I don't think there's any family connection there. But that's what I think of when I hear her name. I think watches. And I wonder, why don't people still wear watches anymore? You never see anybody wearing a watch ever anymore. Mark Hunt beat Bigfoot Silva, and Robert Whittaker not starting out, but long time ago, 2 years ago today in Melbourne, beat Uriah Hall by unanimous decision. Now, what are we going to do as far as the Facebook question? Because I am all by my lonesome, I know what I will do. I will go back in the grab bag and let's see what number we pick. It is number 6. Number 6 is, let's slide down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. John James, guess what? Once again, sir, you are a winner. John James, your question is anyone on the GOAT or pound for pound list PED free? Well, obviously, I don't personally know who's putting what needles into whose butts. I don't know who is drinking what substance. I don't know who's taking what. But look, here's the deal. Nowadays, everyone is under suspicion. And not just in MMA, in all sports. You know, I hear people all the time saying, oh, Derek Jeter never took steroids. How do we know? Who was there in the locker room to watch Derek Jeter? Who's in the gym with him? Nobody. You're going on personal persona. How they look in the public eye. Oh, this person's never done a steroid. Oh, this person is. Now, there are some guys you can tell by looks are definitely juicing. But with USADA, it's really, really tough. And guys pop pretty quick. But is anyone on the list PD free? I would hope to God so. I really would. I kind of want to hope that humanity hasn't completely gone off the deep end. But it's very possible that they all have. Who knows? Because I don't. So, John James, once I get home from Manhattan later tonight, I am going to hit you up. And then I will let you know what you win, and then I will send it out to you first thing tomorrow morning. I will run to the post office because I like you, and I will send you your gift. Okay, John? Happy? You win again? So, I want to remind everyone, as we start to wrap up, please, I'm begging you, go to In the Cage with Cyclone on Facebook. Click like. That's all you got to do. Enter the raffles. You can win just like John James just won. Go to Twitter. Send me a tweet at CYCIE19. Buy a loved one. Buy someone you hate. Buy anyone you know or you don't know a gift from CycloneComedy.com. Please. I can use the money. I'm not lying. I'm flat broke. And then, please, as always, keep reading my articles on Bonehead Picks. I can only continue to improve with you guys' support. So in closing, I want to say I will be back November 28th, right after Thanksgiving. And I do have to say a big, big shout out to Martin, the Situ Asian Engwins becoming the One Championship's first two-division champion, featherweight and lightweight champion. First time they've ever had a two-division champion, and he's it. So congrats, Martin. An honor, well-deserved, sir. And as I say once again to all of you, just because you're not an athlete does not mean you cannot be an athletic supporter. Bye-bye.